we're going to start our program now, and we're just going to go in alphabetic order by city, just to keep it all fair. And happy birthday to the city of Dearborn today, January 15th, 90 years old. Big round of applause. Is there any of us that were here? I don't think any of us are that old. Okay. Jack O'Reilly, our mayor, has served as an elected public official in Dearborn since 1990 and is mayor since 2007. Throughout his career, Mayor O'Reilly has consistently demonstrated his commitment to Dearborn neighborhoods by working to preserve the city's high quality of life and attractive residential areas. Sorry about that, guys. He's promoted economic development, as we all can see, community programs through beneficial relationships with the county, regional, and state agencies, and with corporations like Ford Motor, nonprofit organizations like Beaumont Health System. He has been president of the Michigan Municipal League and chair of the Downriver Community Conference. He was appointed in 2016 to the executive committee of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Please help me welcome our mayor, Jack O'Reilly. This is, I broke it.
Thank you. Oh, did you?
See if
Are you going to ask questions, or what are you doing?
no, you give a speech first.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you give a little presentation.
I didn't
and
know
then
if,
Dan does, and then
all right, okay. I didn't know if we were just going to take questions or whatever, but I guess I'll start. It's you know, really great to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity that this oh, all right. That won't do. All right.
Can you hold this? Is that all right?
All right.
Hold it.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Is this better? Yeah. All right. So again, it's really special to have the kind of support we get from our community here in Dearborn, and it's, you know, the big shows and the little shows, because it's a collective thing of what are we doing together to make this community much stronger, much better. And one of the examples is, you know, that the Wagner Place project, which is going forward. That is really something that's going to be a catalyst. It was Ford Motor Company's vision to do it, but we had to work with them and make sure that we could achieve all of the goals that they had to do that. And again, this is something really special for us because they're redoing their entire campus separately, and that's a 10-year project that they're doing, and it's going to be amazing when it's done. It'll basically mean that they've refreshed and rebuilt everything in their inventory. But the Wagner Place was something a little special. They wanted to do something that would be unique, that would stand out, and that would be attractive to people coming to Dearborn. And so this is something we're really proud of. We've worked with them, and it's getting very close now, and it's going to give us a downtown, which is something we've wanted, a place that really does bring people there, gives them a reason to come. There's going to be all kinds of events and things that are going to go on. The road behind that property has been redone so that we can have a buffer come up and not let cars go through, so you can have events there and in safety, and it's really going to be something very special. So we're really happy about that. Beaumont, they already came and spoke. I was going to talk about the fact that they were going to deal with mental health, which has not been dealt with really very well at all. But not only are they going to do it, but they're going to do it in a really effective way. They're going to make sure that people are getting to where they need to be before they're released. And so when he was talking about that, it was about how we're going to make sure that, that there is a lot of room, that there is an opportunity, and it's going to be very important for us. And it stands alone, which is another thing. Because, you know, first thing when I talked to some of our residents, they said, well, you know, what's this going to mean to us? And I said, no, it's an independent building. It's going to have a really high level of care, and so that's really something very exciting. And then we've got the Fairlane Center. Again, that's one where they're about to change. They came under new ownership, and so for what's happened now is that they used to just be for shopping, but now they also do building properties for people to come and live and so on. So we're talking with them, and we're looking at how to transform that property into something very special. And they are really ready to do that and work with us on this. And so I think this is going to be a great opportunity. The mall itself obviously is something that is not in the demand that it might have been, and certainly that it wasn't when I was growing up. But the opportunities there are viable, and the company that's in charge now is very much interested in doing that. We're always trying to also do things with regard to safety, health. We had a property in Dearborn that was in the industrial area, but it was very unsafe. We worked with the state, we got it cleaned up, we did everything, and now it's a Class A, but we've been able to find an entity that's going to come in and run a business, and they'll have over 200 people working there initially, and it'll go up higher, and it's a complete transformation for that part of the property. The other things that are really significant, I think, is what we do with our boards. We have really an active group of people in our community who get engaged, and of course the chamber is part of it, and so on, but our DDAs, Downtown Development Authorities, and are really outstanding. And what's happened now, and it's very, very new, and it's not done very often at all that I'm aware of, is we've got them all working together so that even though they represent different areas, commercial areas of the city, they're now all working as one. We're doing a lot of things that are going to be really going to be dramatic as we go forward in terms of attracting more people to come to Dearborn, offering them a whole different view of what's available to them. And we've done a lot of studies, and the studies have been clear that the people who are here are satisfied. They like it, it's good for them. But when you go out further, people really don't have any clue about Dearborn. Some people responded to the answer to their response was that they don't know it. They haven't been there. They don't have any idea why they would want to go there. And so we know that we've got an opportunity to go after that market. The market is not saying they have any reason not to come. They just don't have a reason to come. And so we're going to make sure that we do that. And the Corridor Development Authorities, I don't know if everybody understands what that is, but in addition to the Downtown Development Authorities, a few years back, the state allowed for places that are linear to be able to get that tax capture for and run their programs. And so we created 2 of them, and it's really gone off really well. The Dix-Werner corridor is the last one now, and so we're really making sure that our business districts not only have what they need, but they have a voice and a say and money to back it up to make sure that we are going to get where we need to be in terms of drawing more and more people into this town, more and more people to come and become part of our city in any way, including one of the good news is that when we look at what's been happening with the trends with housing in Dearborn, our housing trends have shown that we've gone up substantially each year in the last 4 years, and that we're getting a diverse group and crowd, and we've had a lot, we have more owner-occupied properties and a lot less that are not owned by their owners. So we're really happy about some of these things that are going on, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
I'd love to introduce our Dearborn Heights Mayor, Dan Pilecko. He has a long history of public service. Before winning election to the Michigan House of Representatives, Mayor Pilecko was a longtime member of the Dearborn Heights City Council. He is retired from Ford Motor Company, where he was a financial manager. Mayor Pilecko is a certified public accountant and holds degrees from the University of Michigan, University of Detroit, and Wayne State. Mayor Pilecko is active in his community and is a member of the American Legion, volunteers for income tax assistance, and ushers at St. Linus Church. He has 2 daughters, Marie and Ann. Help me welcome Mayor Pilecko.
Thank you for that introduction. And good afternoon. First, I want to thank Jackie and all the members of the Dearborn Area Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to share some time with all of you. I always look forward to this each and every year. Now, in the years past, I've had a practice of starting with some jokes. I've had jokes about the weather, federal government shutdowns, state government failures, and I feel that all good comedians need to have a sense of humor about themselves. So this year I'll be trying to address some CPA jokes, and I will tell you, my staff had difficulty coming up with CPA jokes. There just is not a lot of them. The one that I remember that my staff didn't find, but I'll share with you, and that is the one that, did you know that there are 3 kinds of CPAs? Those who can count and those who can't. So you can figure out which one I'm in, right? But here's some my staff came up with, so we'll see how they did. You might be a CPA if you have no idea that Gap is also a clothing store. You might be a CPA if your idea of thrashing your hotel room is refusing to fill out the guest comment card. You might be a CPA if you are doing it now because you checked the file and found that you did the same thing last year. You might be a CPA if you decide to change your name to a symbol and you choose the double underline. You might be a CPA if you deduct XLAX as a moving expense. So that was my staff's attempt. Next year we're going to do attorney jokes, I warn you. Mayor Riley is an attorney. Now I've used my education skills to keep Dearborn Heights a thriving community, and I would say that to anyone who has an issue with a CPA that we're really not boring people, we just get excited over boring things. Now, it's always a pleasure to share some quality time each year with the members of the business community, and especially share some stage time with my good friend and my colleague, Mayor O'Reilly of Dearborn. Now, the past year, the city has again added to its fund balance, additional $2 million, where our revenues exceeded our expenditures. And under my leadership, our cost control efforts, diligent management from our staff, and the support of our business and residents continues to pay off. In December, Treasurer John Riley, Controller Linda Vance, and I were interviewed by S&P as we went through our rating, and both of us were all of us were very pleased that our rating was increased from an A to an A+. And as we move forward, we continue to ensure our residents, and indeed our business community, enjoy the same city services and programs they are accustomed to, while we continue to work diligently towards keeping our expenses as low as possible. Our fiscal future is indeed bright. As far as the city goes, we are expanding and expecting the old Canfield Ice Arena to soon come on as a sports training complex. Also, after almost 2 years of working hard on Warren Valley, we are now the official owners of the golf course. And I want to publicly thank 2 people that are in the room, because it would not have been possible without all of their help. And that is my commissioner, Diane Webb, and also the former chairman of the commission, Gary Warrenchuk. And I've had the opportunity to serve with Gary on many occasions in different forums in the state legislature, locally. You're too good a man not to be in public service, so hopefully you get elected or appointed to something very shortly. As always, we're forward in the city to a busy construction season. We're going to spend $1,750,000 on roads. We will be replacing Annapolis from Monroe to Grinley, and we're also going to replace George Avenue from Fenton back to the City Hall by the library. And We're also doing a water line replacement program, which was started many years ago. We will be investing an additional $2,650,000 and be putting a new water main from Beach Daly to Inkster, and also Silvery Lane. Just have many projects that are going to go on dealing with water lines. And part of that's going to be contributed by the CD Community Development Block Grant Program. Now, those of you who have spent any amount of time in Dearborn Heights know our city is made up primarily of residential neighborhoods with a unique blend of small to mid-sized retail outlets, private practices, service organizations, and a modest number of manufacturing facilities. This composition, I believe, makes us a rich, community-based entity by fostering a diverse, personalized, and robust selection of goods and services and job opportunities for our residents, which fosters the shared sense of community that is so vital to our environment. We value all our businesses and appreciate their involvement, which plays an important role in the continued fiscal and social well-being of our city. This year, I look forward to welcoming some new businesses, the Dearborn Fresh Market on Ford Road. We'll have a new two-story office and retail at Ford Road, the old Brex's. Starbucks will be putting in a new facility at Ford Road in John Daly, and that will have a drive-through. We'll have a new medical center at Telegraph and Richardson. That is the old Ponderosa. There will be a new accounting office on Warren Avenue where the Mountain Jacks parking lot once was. Complete redesign of the gas station at Telegraph and Hats. And banquet centers, we'll have a new one on Ford Road where the old Trail Bar used to be. There's a new one that just opened on Warren and Telegraph. We have two multi-family projects on Ann Arbor Trail. One used to be known as the old Frenchie's Party Store, and the second will be off George west of the Blue Moon. Also, and I'm very pleased, through my lifetime, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people who are very successful in a multitude. And one of my good attorney friends had a client who was looking to create a new factory of gluten-free pizza dough. And so my friend called me up and said, "Mayor, do you have any location?" And I said, "You know, have them go see the old Parr's Ice Cream," which before that was Granger, over on Van Born. So the gentleman went over there and he loved it. So he has come in for his permits, and that is going to be a job creator and a significant manufacturer in Dearborn Heights. I also want to briefly mention that Dearborn Heights and Taylor are working together on the Van Born corridor. And I certainly want to thank Mayor Sollers for all his help and assistance, but we are determined to make that corridor a fantastic, innovative commerce area. And so the two communities are working together, our TIFAs are working together, our planning commissions are working together, and both cities will probably put about $1.5 million of infrastructure per city per mile as we really look forward to some really great things happening on Van Born. Thank you, Mayor, for all your help and support on that project. Our city continues to face challenges ahead. However, I'm confident that together, the city administration, our employees, our residents, the business community will continue to work together to address these challenges that affect us. As always, I accept with great humility the opportunity to have served as the mayor of the city of Dearborn Heights. I think it's a real honor, and I take this responsibility very seriously and will continue working towards my goal of doing the best job possible to maintain your trust in my performance as a mayor and continue to hold a high sense of pride in the city of Dearborn Heights. Thank you.
You stay here, and you
Okay.
guys use that microphone.
Okay.
And is this? Okay. Okay, here we go. And now, please join us at the podium, Mayor O'Reilly. And now it's our favorite time for questions and answers. So if anyone in the audience has a question for either of our wonderful mayors, raise your hand and I'll run the mic to you. And I usually have a braver room than this.
Somebody.
I'll get us started. For both of you, what changes do you see in how the state interacts with municipalities now that Governor Whitmer's in office?
Okay. I had the opportunity to serve with our new governor in the state legislature. I was very impressed with her then. I think she's going to be a great governor. The one thing that I think is going to make a big difference is we now have a governor that was in the legislature, and I'm sure Mr. Warnchuk would agree. I think we have somebody who understands the different branches of government, and it's going to work very, very well. And I expect, even though that it's like Washington, where you have one party in control of one house or the legislature and another party in control of the governorship, I think Governor Whitmer is going to work really well with the legislature and get things done.
I agree. I'm Michigan Municipal League, I'm on the board, and we've had conversations with her, and it's very clear that she is very much interested in what we're doing here at the local level and in helping us to go forward with the plans we have, holding us accountable, but certainly she's going to be willing to listen and do everything she can to make sure that at the local level things are being addressed properly. So I'm very optimistic.
Oh, here we go. I see a hand. And I have to say hello to Steve Henry, one of our board members, sitting here, who was omitted in the beginning. Thank you, Steve. Here you go.
Hi, I want to ask Mayor Blanco, will we be treated to the Tale of Two Cities at the Warren Valley Country Club next year?
I'm not sure where the chamber will have it. The person who operates this is a Dearborn Heights resident, and I will tell you, I think they've done a very good job traditionally here. But we're anxious to expand what we're going to have at the Warren Valley in regards to banquets and other ceremonies. So it's always possible in the future.
That might be my question, and we are in discussion with them since they are chamber members now. So a big round of applause for them. Another question? Oh, here we go. Bob.
Thank you, Jackie. And to dovetail on that, Mayor Pletko, let's let everybody know that Warren Valley is open for business. I know our former Dearborn Heights Kiwanis Club is planning on meeting there, and got a consultant that we talked with that has great expertise. I've noticed that Bellagio, the former Stephens, I'm seeing emails with events. Any open date? Does anyone know an open date for Bellagio?
Well, they are open. They did get a temporary certificate of occupancy. There is a considerable amount of work that will still be necessary in the parking lot in the back, but that's more controlled by Wayne County as it slopes down into the Rouge River. MDOT has also been involved. They have used the term punch list of a considerable amount of items, but they managed to get enough done that they held their first event in late December, and they are scheduling events in January.
Thank you. Oh, here we go. Ms. Richardson, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Mayor O'Reilly, what are the plans for the Edward Hotel?
That's going to be up to whoever ends up having the rights to it once everything settles. We finally had to take them out of, we tried to do everything we can with them. We worked with them, gave them all kinds of opportunities. But it really is a tragedy. The way it happened is, first of all, after the company that had it before them, okay, was really not managing it well. They had brought in a group that they put in, and they were just not resonating with the customers. When this group came in, the person that bought it literally saw it and bought it without doing any due diligence. So when I met with him the first time and asked him, he paid 2.5 times what it was worth. This is not kidding. I mean, we got the record because we know what we value it for. 2.5 times what it was valued for by us. I don't know what he was thinking, but that's what they were asking, and he paid it. And so then, of course, he got into all kinds of problems, these different things. So at this point, we tried to work with them as much as we could, but we couldn't put it at risk, so we had to shut it down. I don't think it's going to reopen in that venue. They owe money, of course, to us. They owe money to a couple other vendors here. And then Canada, a group in Canada has put or asked to put a hold on it. I don't think that's going to pan out, but we're going to have to wait to see what happens next. But it's been a tragedy since it was a victim of the first entity that came in, and it's just gotten worse ever since. But like I said, we did everything we could to help them be successful, but it got to a point where we just couldn't. The Detroit Regional, not Detroit Regional Chamber, Detroit, what's the other one? Convention Center had it as a no, don't use it, don't get them. I mean, that's bad. I mean, they had really deteriorated that facility to something that is unfortunate. But again, as I said, we tried everything we can, but they really just had no way or no notion on how to go forward.
I'm gonna give you guys an easy question. What's both of your take on recreational marijuana coming into the city, possibly?
Yeah. I don't have any problem talking about it. I was against the marijuana bill as it was presented, certainly, because I thought that it really didn't have the kind of protections and things that I would like to have seen going into it. But that aside, once it was passed, I felt that it was probably going to be something where we had to consider, we had the opportunity now for a short period, about 1.5 years, and then it would get, it would be refined, but at least we'd have an opportunity to have some influence on some of the things that went on. But again, and our council, we went back and forth, and the council had a lot of good reasons why they were not comfortable with that. But I'm just worried about the big people from outstate who want to come in, and all of a sudden what's going to happen is we'll lose any control. And so it's a really delicate balance, because it's one of those things where there were so many things that were not vetted out, not looked at before it went on the ballot. Therefore, you've got a risk either way. So I don't think that one is greatly better than the other. I just thought that it'd be better for us to get off on the on the ground level, and we would have a 1.5 years of opportunity to try and see what we could make work. But again, it's going to sort itself out.
Well, I think the issue has already been addressed by the voters, and they said that they wanted to legalize marijuana. I have had friends, acquaintances who claim that they receive a lot of support in the medical marijuana. Too many that there must be more than just a psychological benefit to marijuana for certain health considerations. I think the council in Dearborn Heights and Dearborn also was smart in not moving real quickly and start opening up our neighborhoods to dispensaries. I think there's a lot of questions that still need to be addressed and answered, and I'm not sure that some of the business community would necessarily want a dispensary right next to their operation, and we don't really know exactly how this is going to play out. So I think that it was wise for the councils to kind of say, let's stop it for right now, let's take another look at it, and then we can go from there.
We have another question. Okay. Is that Yuzi?
This question is for Mayor Paletko. So my name is Z Shami. I'm the owner of Z the Cook Culinary Studio in Dearborn Heights. I work with a lot of kids, and we've had Mayor O'Reilly come and cook with the children. We've had the chief of the police come and work with them, Lisa Hicks, the Dearborn Heights Fire Department, and the Dearborn Police. We would love to have you come. Do you feel like your involvement with the community and the children, who are of course our future, do you feel like you would be interested in working more closely with the community and the kids?
Absolutely. I would enjoy that very much. Thank you for the offer, and afterwards, tell me when I can get started.
Perfect. Sounds good. Are you a good chef?
No, that's one of the reasons I need to take these classes, because once my youngest daughter, who was an excellent cook,
Yeah.
went on to Michigan to get her degree. Dad eats out most of the time,
Okay,
if
so
not,
I
and
guess-
so
I
I
think the
need
kids
to
will be
learn how to
teaching
cook.
Yeah, I think the kids will be teaching you some tricks in the kitchen then.
Sounds good. I look forward to it.
Sounds good.
Another question?
Oh, there you go.
Hi, my question is, are there any programs, this is for both of the mayors, are there any programs that will help with small businesses and entrepreneurs in each of those cities?
Do you want to?
I think that, I guess, the city doesn't directly do that. So again, it's one of those things where we'll work with anybody who comes in and try and work with them to help them figure out how they can successfully come in and open a business. But we don't have that as one of the things that we provide.
We're in a similar situation, and my dad was a small businessman, so I grew up in a family of small business, and I will tell you that a lot of my dad was a member of the Hamtramck Chamber of Commerce. He was an officer at one time, and the programs that they offered helped, but also the involvement. The fact that this chamber has direct link and to the two mayors, to all the elected officials, is very important. And so we'll do whatever we can, because we help foster small businesses, but unfortunately the emphasis is back on a small business to really get the information and put it all together.
See me later.
Just to follow up to that, because that's a great question, by the way, because we want to embracing new businesses, encouraging them to set up in our communities. With that being said, through SIMCOG, which I know is in the House today, as well as Michigan Municipal League, there's a lot of opportunities to do like the one-stop shopping, we call it. There's other terms used for it, but when you come in from the city's aspect or perspective, we would support them in doing everything as conveniently and as quickly expediting and helping them through the process of getting the permits, of getting their certificate of occupancy, and helping them
Well,
even
we
market.
do those.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute, you're talking about something
Yes.
different, okay?
Yes, I wanted to
You
ask
just
you
went
that.
off another thing.
Yeah.
That's something we do,
Yes.
but we don't actually have money to talk to them about, the finances, but we do all that other,
Yeah,
so that's.
absolutely, and that's why I wanted to lead
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
If you would share that, because I do know
Yeah.
that you do that.
Yeah.
Because I know you're very involved in that.
Right.
So I thought it would be good for the business community that is here and represented today to hear some of this, because they may
Right.
not be aware,
Yeah.
and they certainly could share it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I have a couple more.
All right.
Mayor O'Reilly, can you talk about the branding campaign that went on this past fall and what kind of insights we got from our business owners and our residents?
Well, from our DDAs and others, and of course, you were part of it. We wanted to go out and really test the water in terms of what's going on and how we can begin to develop a better representation from further out from our community. And so it was very successful. We had about 900 people that participated. And then we had a business group which has actually dug a little deeper into the questions we were asking about what would take to get them interested and to come in. So it's still being finalized, but it really is something that we are going to be using because it helps us understand how are we going to go out and reach out to communities who think they know what Dearborn is or just really don't have any image. And we found that and the data shows that with the people who are here, they're comfortable with it, that's not a problem. But the people who are not here or don't come here often, they just don't have an image. It's not even negative, it's just, they just don't think about it. So we're going to use all of this data to begin to develop, some targets that we can use to attract. We have the corridor development authorities. They all have their different, so there's 4 different entities that are business driven. We give them the funds to work in their own districts, and then those districts can go out and market themselves and so on. So it's really a great program. It's helping with the people who are coming into it are really happy because they're able to have support. They know that they're going to have predictability and that the environment that they're in is going to be really clean and well taken care of.
Okay, I think we're close to, Leslie, one last question. Or did Mark Bublitz raise his hand? Okay.
Could you just talk for a minute about regional transit? We did the multimodal transportation study last year, and talk a little bit about that.
Well, sure. That's another great passion of ours. And so at the city, of course, we've been doing intermodal. We've been doing a lot of other things. And we're also, we've been adding, every year, we're going to add 6 more miles of road for people to use and connect, and we're working with the county on this one. So we're interconnecting our entire city. We're actually, for the first time, I think in its history, we're trying to connect east and west, which has always been somewhat separate, and we're using a lot of technology and a lot of services that we can use to get people where they want to go, to connect to the colleges, to connect to other places. Ford Motor Company is very interested. We've been talking to them. So we're really looking at how we can have that alternate way of people to get back and forth, to come to Dearborn. And it's going at a really good pace. We've been able to get some grants. And so that's something that's kind of exciting as we go forward.
Both of us have been totally supportive of mass transit. And one of the things I will tell you from my individual standpoint, when I visited, I don't rent a car when I'm in DC, New York. There's no place to park it. And what you see is in some of the larger cities all around the world is mass transit is such an integral piece to the development and to these communities. And we need to have the foresight to see that that needs to be done here. I mean, I can talk about individuals who are, in fact, we had one at our table, without some form of transportation, the gentleman cannot get around. And there's a lot of workers, there's a lot of people who need that transportation. The big shock to me has been when these comments come out, and we ran into it, I think, in Macomb County, just the last election time, people fighting something that will not, which prevents us from being a world city. And we really need to get aboard and start building pathways to Ann Arbor, to Detroit, to the east side, to all these different things that all of us would be able to use. Even though we're a car city, I still receive my pension from Ford Motor Company, and we want the companies to be strong. The fact still remains that we have a need for mass transit. And so I will sign up. The two of us have worked on all kinds of committees, and it's been a disappointment that I thought by now we'd have a direct link to Ann Arbor and a direct link to the east side and the north part of the Metro Detroit area, and it just didn't happen.
Everyone, a big round of applause for our mayor.
Thank you.